Hi guys, so here we've got equations with a variable on both sides. So first thing, if you haven't looked at one-step or two-step equations yet, then have a look at those, because you need to understand those before you're able to solve equations that look like these, where they have a variable on both sides. So if you look at the first example anyway, you've got 7x minus 1 equals 8x minus 5. So remember, your ultimate goal here anyway is to get x equals a number at the bottom, or it doesn't matter, you could have the number on the other side, so you could have some number equals x. So one way or the other, you want to find out what x is basically. So if you think about this problem anyway, the main issue that you've got at the start of it is that you've got a 7x on one side and you've got an 8x on the other side. So you only want an x on one side, so you want the x on one side and you want numbers on the other side. So if you look up here what it says anyway, it says remove the smaller variable away from both sides. So remember that whatever you do on one side of the equation, you must do the same on the other. Then you have a two-step equation, so do like before. So what's going to happen is we're going to do one step, and then after that we'll just have a two-step equation to solve, or maybe even a one-step equation to solve, depending on the question. So I'm going to remove the smaller variable away from both sides. So if you look at these two variables, on the left hand side you've got a 7x, and on the right hand side you've got an 8x. So obviously the 7x is smaller than 8x, so I'm going to try to remove that from the left hand side. So my step is actually, I'm going to do minus 7x on both sides. Now if you look at what's happening on the left hand side, and this is the hard thing to see really, I'm going to take away 7x from the left hand side. So what's actually happened is the 7x on the top line and the minus 7x, it's like those cancel each other out, because 7x and minus 7x would just be 0. So think about it, if those two things are gone, then think about what's left on the left hand side. Well, this minus 1 is still left there, because nothing actually happens to minus 1. Nothing gets taken away from it or added to it. So you're left with minus 1 on the left hand side. On the right hand side you've got 8x minus 5, and then you've got minus 7x. So what you can do is you can do 8x minus 7x. So 8x minus 7x would be 1x, and you should remember that 1x is the same thing as just x. So I can just write just x there. There's also a minus 5 left on the right hand side, because if you think about it, nothing's actually happened at minus 5 on the top line. So it just comes down underneath as well. From then you've got an easy equation again, like before. So on the right hand side, look at what's happening to x here. x5 is being taken away from it, so you're going to do the opposite of that, you're going to add 5. So plus 5 plus 5. On the left hand side then you've got minus 1 plus 5, and minus 1 plus 5 is 4. On the right hand side you've got x minus 5 plus 5, the minus 5 plus 5 cancel out, so you're left with x. So x equals 4 is the answer to that question. My second example, so I've got 5x plus 9 equals 7x minus 7. Now if I look back up to the notes I have up here again, I'm going to remove the smaller variable. Now in this question I've got a 5x on the left hand side and a 7x on the right hand side. So obviously the 5x is smaller than the 7x, so I'm going to try and get rid of this 5x from the left hand side. Now in order to do that, I can just subtract 5x. But again, whatever you do on the left hand side, you must do on the right hand side. So I'm going to subtract 5x on the right hand side as well. Now the 5x and the minus 5x, they cancel each other out again. That's the reason I did minus 5x, so it would take away the 5x on the top line. But this 9 is still there, so 9 comes down underneath. On the right hand side then, you've got 7x and minus 7 and minus 5x. So you can take the x's away from each other again. 7x take away 5x would be 2x. So 2x comes down here. 7x take away 5x is 2x. And then this minus 7 on the top line comes down as well. Now what you've actually got here is you've got a two-step equation. So I'm going to do the opposites of what's happening to x again. So x is being times by 2 and 7 is being taken away. So I'm going to get rid of that minus 7 first. I'm going to add 7 to both sides. On the left hand side, 9 plus 7 is 16. On the right hand side, 2x minus 7 plus 7 would just be 2x, because the minus 7 plus 7 cancel out. One step left then, because x is being times by 2, I divide by 2. So 8 equals x. And that's my final answer to that example then. So here's two more questions. If you want to pause the video and just attempt these questions now, so question 1 and question 2, and then play on the video and I'll correct both questions. I'll put up the answers. Right, so answer the first question anyway. So you've got 2w plus 15 equals 5w plus 3. So I can see here that the 2w and the 5w are my two variables. So the smaller one is the 2w. So I'm going to subtract 2w from both sides. Now by subtracting 2w from the left hand side, I just have 15 left, because the 2w gets rid of the two 2w's basically cancel each other out. Equals, on the right hand side, 5w take away 2w would be 3w, and I've got that plus 3 there as well, so that comes down. I'm going to get rid of that plus 3 on the right hand side then by subtracting 3. So on the left hand side I get 15 minus 3, which is 12. On the right hand side, plus 3 minus 3 cancel each other out, so this 3w hasn't been touched, so 3w is left. On the right hand side then, I'm going to get rid of this 3 beside w. So w has been times by 3, so I divide by 3. So 12 divided by 3 is 4, equals w. That's my answer. Question 2 then. I've got a 5w on the right hand side and I've got a 3w on the left hand side. So 3w is smaller, so I take away 3w. Left hand side, there's just 7 left, equals, because the 3w's cancel. 5w take away 3w is 2w plus 1, because the plus 1 comes down. W here is being times by 2 then, and 1 is being added on, so I subtract 1 from both sides. 7 minus 1 is 6 on the left hand side. On the right hand side I'm left with 2w, because plus 1 and minus 1 cancel each other out. Then on the right hand side, w is being times by 2, so I divide by 2. So 6 divided by 2 is 3, equals, and 2w divided by 2 is w. So those are your final answers, 4 and 3.